Sai Dayala, Sai Kripala, Sai Ananta, Triguna Swarupa, Sai Dayala, Sai Kripala, Sai Ananta, Triguna Swarupa, Sai Dayala, Sai Kripala, Sai Ananta, Triguna Swarupa. Namo Sai Natha, 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 Sai Dayala, Sai Kripala, Sai Ananta, Triguna Swarupa. Namo Sai Natha, 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 Sai Dayala, Sai Kripala, Sai Ananta, Triguna Swarupa, Sai Dayala, Sai Kripala, Sai Ananta, Triguna Swarupa, Sai Dayala, Sai Kripala, Sai Ananta, Triguna Swarupa, Sai Dayala, Sai Kripala, Sai Ananta, Triguna Swarupa.
I just have one question that usually when we do our household chores, For example, cutting vegetables or doing general housework. We do that with some general level of anxiety in the mind, or worrying or thinking about someone or loved ones. So, how do we train our to focus on one action when we are doing household work rather than mind moving around in all directions? And as a consequence, maybe I'll cut my fingers while cutting my vegetables. So, just some direction would be very appreciated.
Just a few seconds back, you were listening to me singing the praise of the Lord. Sai is not just, Sai of Shirdi. Sai is our enlightened consciousness. The Sai who appeared in Shirdi basically showed to all of us what happens to a human when that human understands the purpose of human birth, human life, human existence in this body, mind. Such great saints and sages and seers, they came to us time and again. They descended from the supreme astral planes to the mundane material plane and went through all the most arduous penances and sadhana and tapasyas and all kinds of austerities that we can't even imagine. Doing all that, they once again purified their body. They once again purified their mind to show all of us that even these great seers and sages, when they come onto this earthly plane, they have to go through the process of, again, purification. Otherwise, there was no need for it all. So what I would possibly say a few words before I come to your question is this, that all of us have in our mind different kinds of thoughts. That's what the mind is all about. But our mind is not just all about only thoughts. It's so much about the emotions that the thoughts create in our body plane. Emotion is very physical. If you're very happy, your body also responds accordingly. If you are, for some reason, very depressed, or you are suddenly had a very strong anxiety attack, or you are very stressed out, your body completely goes into a different mode of manifestation. So we must keep in mind that in an earthly plane, when we are in an earthly body, we have our thoughts in our mind and accordingly different kinds of emotions that is playing. Look, when I want to make a difference between what is emotion and what is devotion. You have heard this word devotion. You've also heard the word emotion. And we all know that we are emotional beings at the same time, not just thinking beings. And what I see is that when the emotion is directed towards any earthly forms, it could be humans, it could be animals, it could be trees, plants, any creations of God. When it is directed, when the emotion is for somebody, like the mother to the child, or the husband to the wife, or the wife to the husband, all of it, friends, or whatever relations you can relate to, everything is basically very emotional. When the emotion is directed towards the earthly stuff, then it is emotion, But with the same emotion, after having gone through the roller coaster of life, ups and downs of life, different emotional actions and reactions and different kind of experiences, when you have gone through it all and you have been churned enough, then what happens is that you come to a state of mind where you start to realize That is, I've been searching and searching and searching, but why I'm not that happy that I want to be? Why, as I'm advancing in age, I'm losing my health? Why it happens that I loved somebody and somebody just left me like that? I mean, there are such different shades of emotions that are experienced by humans all over the world when their emotion is directed towards humans or other things of life. My point is, when due to all these experiences, when an individual ripens enough, or rather is heated enough to become to go to the next stage, when you heat water, what happens? Water evaporates. It can fly to the sky. It's water. Vapor is also water. But it is not on the ground plane. It's now levitating, it's going higher. The water is now moving higher. The same water that was moving down now moves up. But when? Only when it has reached the boiling point. So also humans in this world, when they are in this world, they are heated. That's called taap. And one who goes through this pain and suffering, which is a kind of a very uncomfortable feeling, it's not at ease, it is a kind of a disease. So when you are feeling that, you go through that in the worldly plane and you feel so frustrated at times. So your pain and suffering takes you through all of it. And then where do you reach? You basically ripen. You experience the true nature of this transient life, temporal life, impermanent life. So you come to recognize finally the law of impermanence, that nothing is permanent. Only the world can teach you this law of impermanence, not books. Only your experiences, when they are at different times given different levels of experiences, can take you to the maturity of understanding how fragile is your emotion. And how when you invest your emotions to somebody, then suddenly if you are cheated or betrayed, then you are shaken to the core. And that is not just a suffering to me, that also is an awakening to me. I awaken to a different kind of a level of experience and understanding and perception that life is not all that it appears on the surface. I come to realize, oh my goodness, this is this. I become very alert, I become very conscious. So I go to the next step of evaporation. That means I go to the next stage of going from emotion to devotion. What is devotion? Devotion is emotion directed towards the divine. When the emotion is directed toward the divine, now what is divine? What is divine? Divine is the totality consciousness, not part consciousness. What is world? Part consciousness. Things are all in small pieces and bits and pieces. You are someone, somebody else someone. This is something, that is something. Everything is bits and pieces. But God is totality. Anything, everything, the totality is divine. Part is matter, material. But when it becomes a state of consciousness, then it becomes a deeper level of moving towards divinity. So my point is this, that try to understand that no experience of your life is useless. However bitter it could be, however painful it could be, however you are suffering, understand that this is the only thing by which enough heat is created so that your mind at some point realizes what is the pain and suffering, why the pain and suffering, and where you are meant to reach beyond this pain and suffering to a world where there is no longer pain and no longer suffering. And that's your own mind. The same mind which you put you into so much of pain and suffering because you had invested your emotions into worldly things. Invest your emotion in the divine. When you meditate upon the form of Lord or formless Lord, when you meditate upon the divine in form or without form, you meditate upon that ideal by which you can ultimately reach to that ideation of that particular complete whole, the supreme, the oneness. Then what happens is that your emotion is so much uplifted that you feel you are in this world, but you are no longer attached to the world. Your attachments drop as unwanted. They don't any longer have the power to push you into doing something or the other without even your knowledge. So what happens? You gradually move to a state which will be an enlightened state. So for the sake of being enlightened in this very world, when you are leading a worldly life, you need to pass through different experiences where you have invested your emotions, to the worldly things of life, and then you gradually get to know that now is the time for you to go to the next phase of devotion.
Just one follow-up question, that once we have a higher intensity of devotion compared to emotion, how will our general life of people whom I interact, how will they receive my emotion? Will my emotion will be mixed with devotion, or can they feel that I have a level of devotion, or they'll be totally oblivious? They will just receive the plain old emotion which I used to have. How will the receiver be impacted if I am high on devotion?
Beautiful question, a very, very beautiful question. First thing, understand one thing, when we are saying emotion, we are talking about energy. When you are talking about devotion, no, this is also energy. Mind you, every thought that comes into your mind is energy. And every energy has its own vibrations. Every vibration has its own frequencies. Now what happens is that when emotions are directed towards worldly stuff, you are vibrating at a particular plane of consciousness. And again, you are creating frequencies in a particular plane of frequencies. So accordingly, you are generating inside of you and outside of you some kind of energetic field. Just think about it. What happens to you when you go to a person who is very positive, very happy-go person, very positive person, very loving, joyful? The moment you go very close to that person and maybe you are interacting with that person, you also start feeling very positive, very joyful. You go to a person who is very negative and very critical, very judgmental. You don't feel too open in such cases. So what is happening is that it's all energy. It's by the energy the person is attracting to you or kind of pushing you away. Now, when you direct your energy towards the worldly stuff of life, you become more and more grossed in your mind plane because you are a materialistic person. When your mind hovers over all the material stuff, the mind also gets into the color of material stuff only. Thereby what happens? Your thoughts, your vibrations, your frequencies are material. And you know very well that when it is material, that means it is physical. You know very well, your physical has limitations. But do you think your mind has limitation? No. Because mind is not physical, it's a non-physical stuff, it's consciousness. It's not the organ of brain which has its limitation. Your brain has limitations to the tune of the conditions that you have stuffed in. Like a computer, it runs by default. But what is your mind? Your mind is not running by mere default. It can any moment transcend into any plane out of any such situations or circumstances. So thereby try to understand this basic thing. When your inner energy changes from emotion to devotion, or rather more and more of devotion, then your energy is also levitating. Your energy is buoyant. Your energy will be different. Your energy will be more positive than ever. Just as I said, when you talk to a very highly positive person, holy person, saintly person, enlightened person, then what happens? The most important thing that happens is that you also feel the light. That means the one who is carrying the light can allow the light to be shared. One who is carrying the darkness and hostile forces will also infect others with the virus of the hostile impact. So that way, the most important part of this particular conversation is that devotion is the emotion which is first churned, and then the cream is coming, and the devotion is now directed towards the divine. And the more you are divinely oriented in your mind, more your mind becomes luminous. You have more clarity. And as a result, when you are interacting with your same people at home, in your own family, or at workplace with your own colleagues, or your bosses, or anybody in this world, then what happens is that you are continually sharing your higher state of mind, energy, because your words will be more soothing, your words will have more power, your decisions will have more clarity. You will be really, really different from others because your inner energy field is different. So by devotion, you are basically allowing your energy to be of a higher field.
Just one final follow-up question is, um, you are saying that mind is infinite, so is it a fair um, conclusion that every person on earth has a fixed, quantifiable mind, or everyone has a limitless mind? Or if I'm more intelligent, or if I use my brain more, then the mind expands more? Or does everyone has the same degree of infinite mind or quantifiable mind? I just want
This is beautiful, yeah. See, the moment we say mind, it has different layers, different levels. In its gross level, it's very materialistic, hence very limited. Then there are notions, then there are some conditions. So, lower the mind, lower the more the conditions, more the notions, more the fixed ideas and thoughts and concepts. So then the mind is in a boxed state. It cannot fly. So here you are seeing the same mind, but with limited powers. It's as if you have a light, but you also have a dimmer. And with the dimmer, you are trying to put it in a dim state. But that's not the actual potency of that particular. It can go very bright, but the same thing, with the use of a dimmer, you are using it to a low light. So our mind, if we are too much invested into emotions of the worldly nature, what happens is that it becomes as if you are a mind using with a dimmer. But if you are truly conscious and you have come in touch with a wise teacher, there was a time I used to feel so happy to use the word guru, because at that time the word, I'm talking about early days, at that time the word guru was very sacred. Guru only meant very highly enlightened spiritual masters at that time. But with the passage of time, the guru, even a person who is a good golfer, is called golf guru. Even a cinema actor can become a guru. I mean, in your CEO job, if you do a good job, you are a good guru. Management guru, finance guru, X guru, Y guru. My point is this, gradually with the change in time and perception of humans, now gradually we are bringing basically all the sacred stuff into such gross material plane through our mind states that we are gradually losing the true significance of each of these innate divinity in it, innate sacredness, holiness, innocence, pristineness, all of it we are missing. It's okay, you can be a golf guru, no problem. What problem I should have if you are a golf guru? But my problem is, if you would have kept the word guru as sacred as it was in the ancient past, things would have been much better. You see, you use any other word. But there are certain words which carry with it, in Sanskrit I am talking about, it carries its own vibration. So when you were talking about the guru, I am talking about the lineage of the great masters. If you are ever fortunate enough to be in the company of a good, true teacher, then that teacher will gradually bring in you the power of your mind from your normal tendency to use the dimmer to the dimmer side. He will teach you or she will teach you how to use the same dimmer on the opposite side now. And now gradually see that you are seeing the same thing that you saw previously, but you are seeing it so differently. Because now you are seeing things in a different, little higher light. So he is basically giving you some ideas and thoughts by which you can gradually change yourself and interact with your wife, with your husband, with your children, with your workplace, with your business, with your customers, with everything in life, with nature, with trees, with the plants, with the stars, with the moons, with the suns, with everything around you differently. What is this difference? Difference in consciousness. In which plane of consciousness? In mind plane. So now you have the same mind which with the use of a dimmer in the dimming side, now the same mind used with the dimmer on the higher side, you are seeing a different state of your own mind. This is higher mind. Higher mind, I am talking about this particular concept of higher mind from the point of view of conscious mind. Higher mind means conscious mind. When you are self-aware, your mind is conscious, what you are saying, what you are doing, what you are in your true essence. So you don't miss out because you are alive, awake. You don't do things and repent. You don't do things in a rush and then regret. Your decisions are balanced. Your mind and body is aligned. You are mindful. Now I'll come to the first question that you asked me, how we can practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the same practice as the rishis of our land had always told us, yadrishi bhavana yashya siddhir bhavati tadrishi. As you think, so you become. If you are where you are, if your body and your mind is together, then you are at home. If your body is at one place and your mind is somewhere else, you are not at home. Now, if somebody has a message to deliver to you, he knocks at the door and there is no answer from inside because you are not at home. So if that person who has come to knock at your door is God, he knocks at your door, say, "Yay, I've come," but there is nobody from inside to answer. He returns without delivering because you didn't give the chance. Who knows when the knock will come from the divine source. If I am not mindful, the knock will come, but I will not be at home because I am away, though my body was in the house. but my mind was elsewhere. I'm not at home. When I am in my body and my mind is with my body, when my mind and my body working together in pure alignment, and if I'm conscious, I'm aware, moment to moment, then you can be rest assured, you are a very kind, loving, compassionate person. Because now you are no longer so selfish. Because your selfishness is connected to your small, tiny, conditioned mind, which is ego. When you are running your entire life from the perspective of your little tiny ego self, and not from the broader perspective of the broader understanding, the broader vision of life, then you are gradually transcending your ego. Do you get my point? So this is possibly, in being more mindful, you are trying to gradually come to become more self-aware, self-conscious, and conscious about your own mind, about your own thoughts, about your own emotions.
That's a wonderful answer. Just wanted to ask that, of course, in a workplace, it's a collection of people. We don't have any choice on whether the company or business is hiring a set of people with a set of skills, but they are not looking at the level of consciousness or devotion. So we are forced to work with different people with different skill sets. But in our social life, we have a choice, because we can choose whether how much or on what degree I can be social, or what are the people that surrounds me. So I think, do you recommend that we are very, of course, it's a saying that you choose your friends wisely, but in our social circle, if we are in the path of devotion and want to rise or a bit refine ourselves, so I think we need to filter the person socially on whom we are about to interact and mix, and even choose our friends socially and wisely.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Without a speck of doubt.
Take off your glasses. Your face will be clearer because you have shadows under.
No, I can't take off any glasses. The thing is it's very simple. Try to understand this. Whatever you are today, it's because of the practice, what you have done so far today. You can't be what you are not. And you are what your thoughts have been, what your practices have been. And they have all become your second nature. They are your habits, that your patterns. You basically are continually running with patterns of your own mind, patterns of your own behavior, patterns of your own emotions, patterns of your own thoughts. Again and again, you repeat the same patterns in your life. Don't you do that? Now, all of a sudden, you cannot change. Because the patterns are your subconscious programs. Programs don't change so easy. That's the reason there's a word, habits die very hard. And what is habit? Repetitive. You do the same thing again and again. That becomes a pattern or a habit. So if you really want to improve, which to me life is all about, to continually upgrade ourselves. Not just our phones, not just our electronic devices, and show that, look, I am updated. Not even with our qualifications. Look, I'm updated. I'm telling you, must upgrade your brain. You must upgrade your consciousness, upgrade your mind state. The more upgraded your mind version is, more clarity you attain inside of you. And the more clarity you attain, you see the same things, you hear the same things, but your interpretations change. And once the interpretations change, you are able to react differently. You are able to not react but respond. Response is different, reaction is different. Reactions come from your habitual pattern of mind, response comes out of a pause. Response needs mindful state of mind. Reaction needs your default state of mind. That's the reason you get angry, because that's your reaction. But you are loving, compassionate, that's a response. You are forgiving, that's a response. You are understanding, that's a response. All of it needs a quieter mind. So my suggestion would be that practice mindfulness every day. Practice heartfulness every day. What is this fullness? Fullness is that which I told you. God is complete. God is total, full. God is full. Full of what? Full of love, full of wisdom, full of anything and everything that the human mind can possibly conceive and beyond. That's the reason, don't you think, that we say God is full of love? Full. So let our mind be full of that divine vibrations. Let our mind be full of that divine love. Let our mind be full of divine compassion. Let the ego gradually give place to the higher sublime thoughts and higher sublime emotions, which becomes devotion. So the more devoted we are, more selfless we become without efforts. It is not a pretentive selflessness. There are many people in the society who tries to show off that they are very selfless by donating big money, by giving all kinds of charity, and come on and saying this so and so man has sponsored today's prasad, or has just donated 5 lakhs or 5 crores of rupees, or you hear all these big statements of philanthropic. True philanthropy is when your right hand gives, your left hand doesn't know. That is true philanthropy. True charity is when you do and nobody knows. Because when you do and instantly get applauded, then you got the result, and it's a very cheap result. Few applauses. It just creates and it vanishes. But if you do and no one knows, when God gives back, you become full. That is mindful. When you do it from your heart, expect nothing in return, then your heart gets full. That is heartfulness. See the beauty of it. You are basically working in the same plane. But see how you can always upgrade yourself. The same mind, the same body, the same heart, but they are working in a part consciousness. Bring the consciousness of fullness to it, and you become full with love, full with compassion, full with kindness, and you become such a beautiful, divine, luminous being that everybody would love to be with you. You don't have to run for anything in this world. Things will come to you. Social, workplace, family, everywhere you will be like, hey, I want to go. I want to see with you. I want to talk to you. I want to be with you. Because you have become your true friend. Now everybody will long to become your friend. One who is true friend to one's own self never lacks friends in this world. Jai Baba Loknath. Thank you so much. It was so beautiful to talk to you all, and it's so nice, and we'll continue this conversation again and again, because each of these beautiful things we need to listen again and again and again. It's more like we take a food in the morning, and then in the afternoon we have little kind of lunch, and then some little snacking in the afternoon, and then again some dinner at night. So many times we take food. So also satsang, this is very, very important. This needs, we need to continuously do these satsangs again and again, because that's how we refine our mind, our thoughts, and everything. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.